As you all, most of you know, there's probably almost 600 of these recordings on YouTube and Facebook, and it's almost like a research library in Rudy's meditation practice. Go and listen, and much of it is even like a meditation class. So, if you have time and you want to spend 15, 20 minutes listening to some of these talks, they're all readily available. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask? Yes, Gabriella. You have to unmute yourself.
So, I'm not sure if it was you or Jan who said that there's a lag between the time of the your chakras building and when you notice it, or I'm probably saying it wrong.
There's a what?
It's like there's a 6-month time period as your chakra system builds before you notice it in your life.
There's no time period, Gabriella. It all works incrementally, step by step. And most of the time, our growth is about 3-4 months ahead of us. We still cling to the past. We still cling to old conditioned behavior and ways we've lived. And yet something in us has moved forward. And yet we haven't quite caught up with it yet. And that's why the work is so essential, the daily work of sitting down every day and working deeply inside yourself, opening, is such an essential factor, because it's really incrementally, every class you take, every time you sit down and meditate, you're getting one little step closer to your spiritual enlightenment. And you begin to tell the difference. Sometimes years later, your whole life is different. And all new cycles begin to take place, new responsibilities take place. Your ability to love the people in your life, to not be turned off by all the craziness that goes on in the world. It all is incremental. It's step by step by step. And mostly people don't even know when they've taken the next step. They find out because suddenly their activity is a little bit different. The way they see the world is a little bit different. And this, over time, builds a chakra system which is organically connected to higher energy in the universe. It's not something, well, I have a 6-month, I don't give any diplomas here. There's a 6-month course and I will be enlightened. It doesn't work that way. But it works. Slowly and gradually, the system of a human being transforms itself. And the way we live transforms itself. What our interests are, how we open inside, our need inside to be one with God, to have a spiritual life, gets deeper and deeper. But there's no time frame in this. You have to realize that the energy of God is infinite in the universe. There's no limitation to it. And part of enlightenment is recognizing that the day-by-day growth, the day-by-day learning, opening, going a little deeper, is essential to any kind of state of enlightenment. Never getting there is important for enlightenment. How could you get there? It's infinite in the universe. How do you get there? How does one become perfect? You can't. God is perfect. The rest of us spend our lives developing perfection inside ourselves, never quite getting there. but never quite getting there is essential because it keeps us working on ourselves. So instead of beating ourselves up because we haven't become perfect, we should be grateful. I mean, it's like that incredible painting by Michelangelo of the finger of God and the finger of man, and there's that, there's that separation. That separation will always be there. And people get upset because, they're not perfect. One should be grateful because being imperfect means you will spend every day of your life growing. Accepting your imperfections, your limitations, means you will spend every day of your life growing. So the imperfection is not a negative thing. It's a positive thing. It really demands that you work on yourself. And that is the key to spiritual growth. And there's no time frame. You don't get a degree in 4 years or 6 months, But one day by day, moment by moment, feels the changes taking place inside us. The willingness to step into the unknown, the willingness to take chances with your life, not to bury your life in some kind of safe, haven which doesn't demand anything from you. I mean, at this point in my life, I should be in Palm Beach somewhere, sitting on a rocking chair and drinking Coco Locos. That's what I'm doing, because I don't want to ever in my life live with this sense that I am perfect. God is perfect. At best, I'm a child of God. At best, I'm a student of God. I'm a servant of God. And at best, I have to spend my life making up for the imperfections. That's growth. That's the only way one grows. Rudy always compared it to an oyster with an irritation produces a pearl. That's what he always used to say. An oyster with an irritation produces, well, we have an irritation. We're not perfect. None of us are perfect. But that imperfection produces gemstones inside us. It produces diamonds inside us as we continue to grow.
Thank you.
You're welcome, dear. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? And it's good along the way to just have a sense of humor. Don't take yourself too seriously, I really mean that, We live in the theater of the absurd, and the only person that doesn't know it is us, And once we begin to discover that we're living in the theater of the absurd, we can enjoy it. It's like waiting for Godot, It's all absurd. And we can enjoy it and laugh at ourselves, how serious we get because life is absurd. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? And again, I'll say it for the 100th time, there's no right way. There is each and every human being's unique way of growing and having a spiritual life. And all this meditation about is not providing a right way. It's about providing a craft, energy, fuel. I have lamps on here. They need energy or they don't work. Refrigerator doesn't work if it's not plugged into the wall. We need energy. Nobody in this meditation is going to grow like anybody else. And I think that is the wonderful thing that I really love about this. There's no right way. There's just the energy comes and it will manifest in your life according to your karma. Does anyone else have a question I would like to ask? And the ultimate way is get free of oneself. So that what can we supposed to do? God is love. And until we get free of ourselves, we're so invested in neurosis and anxiety and turmoil and inner unhappiness and chabda. And God is love. Very simple. But in order to open and embrace that love, we have to get free of ourselves. And that's what meditation is about, getting free of themselves, not being a Hindu or a Buddhist or a Christian or a Jew or whatever you are. It doesn't matter. Get free of oneself. And you'll embrace God is love.
Stuart, I have a question, Bob Sink.
Yes, Bob.
Whether I'm meeting somebody at the grocery checkout or a friend that I've known for a long time, especially in this culture, it's like I feel like I'm spending time trying to make a connection to cut through their, the tension that somebody might be in the middle of, whether that's by comforting or something. Could you talk about good ways to break through that tension that we meet?
Yes, I can talk about that. That's totally dependent upon oneself. When you build a system inside that is connected to spirit, that's open, the chakra system is really working, you find ways of connecting with people, of comforting them, of loving them, even some of the most difficult people. But it's not dependent on them. They are telling you that you have yet to build that kind of system inside yourself. And if you listen to that, it doesn't become a pain in the ass. Okay, I got to grow. This person is reminding me that I have to grow. I mean, I told the story 1,000 times about when I used to work in a bar, and there was a bartender there I couldn't go and get a whiskey sour from without getting into a fight with this guy. There was so much tension. And I was standing at the bar one day, and he's talking about going out and meeting his girlfriend for midnight, breakfast. And I was completely stunned. I said, my God, this guy has a girlfriend? I said, this woman must be a saint. She sleeps next to him. She goes out and has midnight breakfast with him. I'd like to meet her. She's got to be a saint. How did she get through his tension? My whole connection with that man changed at that moment. All changed. I grew. And I was grateful to him because his presence made me grow. It made me, want to meet his girlfriend because I wanted to kiss the foot of his girlfriend. She had to be a saint. How did she do it? I never had a fight with him again. We used to have conversations and talk about things. And I also, I began to find out what he wanted to talk about, not what I wanted to talk about. And that was okay, because many of the things that I would talk about would intimidate him. So I used to listen to him and find out what he wanted to talk about, and what he became friends with this person. I mean, I've had this all my life, just listening to people. What do they want to talk about? Forget Kundalini yoga, forget the magic of meditation and what it can do. What do they want to talk about? They are God's creatures also. I have to listen to them, learn from them, especially in families. My God, you know. I mean, you have to really listen to your family and never sit in judgment of them, but just listen and tune into the conversation as they understand it. So I would suggest trying that, you know. I mean it. This person has something to teach you about yourself. And then you do the work to grow inside and open and listen and not have to be right all the time or know better than them. And, you know, I mean, I don't know better than all of you, but you bring out this stuff from me, you know. I sit here and open to all of you, and it brings out this stuff. I don't talk like this all day. You know? It brings out your very presence here is like my teacher. It brings out all this stuff. I mean, look, there's so much bullshit in the world that you can't get caught up in it. And you got to remember, when you can transform bullshit, it creates an organic garden. You know, that was one of Rudy's metaphors, you know. Compost creates an organic garden. What is compost? Rotten food, stinks. You stick it in the earth, you put your tension inside the chakra system, it transforms and creates an organic garden inside you. And just remember to laugh at yourself a little bit.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome, Bob. God bless you, Bob. And, you know, you have enough things to work on in yourself, not to have to worry about somebody else's stuff. Do your work. You're growing very beautifully. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, if there are no more questions, then there is going to be a retreat next month. There's still space, you know, for people to come. If you want to come, I recommend it. But I'm going to be there. I'm at all the retreats. I'm at all the classes.
Stuart, I've never been to one of your retreats. Can you tell me about it?
Yeah,
what are they like? How long does it last?
It's a weekend. It's Friday night, Saturday and Sunday, Friday night. And it's a combination of stuff. The first thing is a meditation class. There's 3 classes a day, and Friday night there's 1 class. Each class is a combination of a meditation class, hands-on healing work, which gets very deep and very transformative. And then, you know, I talk and answer questions. And there are 3 classes like that a day, and it's very intense. By the end of the weekend, I mean, people leave looking like totally different people. You know, there's a twinkle in their eye. There's a sparkle in them. There's love in them. There's gratitude. I mean, it's extraordinary what happens.
And how much do they cost?
It's a lot of work. I ask people for $350 for the weekend. It's not a lot.
Mm-mm.
They're very marginal. I mean, you want to go sit with Deepak Chopra, it costs you $12,000 for a weekend.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so it's not a lot of money. I try to keep it reasonable. Then there's, you know, hotels, but then there's a very inexpensive hotel not far from me that people stay at. It's like $70, $80 a night or something. You know, it's pretty reasonable.
So what are the dates?
Huh?
What are the dates?
I didn't
What are the
understand.
dates of which weekend?
It's going to be, Jennifer, what weekend? I don't even remember. 17th?
I believe it's the 21st, 22nd, 23rd.
21st, 22nd, 23rd. That weekend.
There's a page at Stuart's website that gives information and who to contact and the dates.
Okay,
you
thank
can go to
you.
my website and read about it. Also, you can read about Tantra. I am totally immersed in writing about Tantra now. And I've discovered that this work we do shouldn't be called Kundalini Yoga, it should be called Tantric Yoga. You know? Because all Tantra is about is transformation. And all this work is about is transformation, changing. You know, death and rebirth, recycling oneself. So if people want to come, there's still, I don't know, there's still some places open on this retreat, but let me or Jennifer know as soon as you can. And you're welcome, you know. I mean, look, I'm not getting younger. You might as well benefit from what I do, you know, really benefit from what I do. Stuart is not getting younger, you know. Okay, does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, well, thank you. God bless you all. And I'll say it again, you know, I so much gratitude to come here and do this with all of you. I mean, what you by your presence of necessity make me do is so wonderful and takes me so deep in myself that I just have endless gratitude. God bless you all. And I'm looking forward, there'll be a class on Wednesday. I'm looking forward to seeing you. Bless you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thanks, Stuart.
Thank you very much. Good night.